Now, this week, a new education conference will be held here in Nairobi, which may decide which way our education system go. The conference, to be held at the KICC, will discuss key changes proposed by a task force which includes reviewing the 844 system of education. Now, let's join Akisa Wandera for the highlights of the proposed change. Akisa.
Thank you, James. Now, as you have mentioned, on Wednesday this week, the 30th of this month, we are expecting one of the biggest conference, one of the most important conferences as far as the education sector is concerned. And we will just be looking at some of the proposals that have been made, the proposals that stakeholders who will be attending this particular conference will be discussing. We have 500 or more stakeholders expected to attend. It is being held at the KICC on the 30th of this month, which is just a day off. And the stakeholders are set to validate key findings of a review team. These are the proposals that were made by Douglas Odhiambo task force. Douglas is the former vice chancellor for the Moi University. He was among those who came up with these proposals, dubbed the reforms roadmap. And these stakeholders will just be deliberating these proposals that have been given. There will also be a needs assessment report to be tabled for discussion on Wednesday at the KICC. And this report particularly looks at systematic processes for determining and addressing needs or gaps, to take a look at the former conditions we had and the current conditions, especially in where and how we want to take the education sector in the country. But now let's just take a look at some of the proposals that have been made specifically when it comes to the education system in the country. One of the major proposals is that we get into the 663 system. We do away with the 844 and get into 2663. That means 2 years for preschool. That is nursery and pre-unit, as you may have it. We have 6 years in a primary school as opposed to 8 years, what we have right now. Then 6 years in secondary school. The 6 years of secondary school will be divided in two. We'll have junior secondary school and a senior secondary school, where in the senior secondary school, students will be introduced to career pathways to ensure there's practicality in some of the things they learn while in school. That will happen in the last 3 years of the secondary school, which will be called the senior secondary school. And finally, the education system cycle will end at the university, where students will be subjected to 3 years of learning at the university as opposed to 2 years of learning. Some of the proposals that have also been made by the Douglas Odhiambo-led task force is that we do away with examinations, the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education and the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education. And if this particular report is adopted, it means the last time or the last group to take up the KCPE examinations will be the class of 2018 that will sit for exams in 2018. And for KCSE, the last examinations we will have, if this particular report is adopted, will be in the year 2021. So why 2663? Why? What's some of the reasons why we are vouching for this particular system? The stakeholders and some of the experts in the education sector say this particular system will be based on competence. How competent are you when it comes to the job market, the skills you're gaining in school? It will not just be about what we get now of reading a lot, having a lot of subjects that we are doing in school, when at the end of the day we can't do practical, or students can't do practical things when they get into the outside world. Like write a simple letter of job a simple job application letter. This is the competence we are talking about, which is one of the reasons why they're vouching for the 2663. The system is also expected to be age appropriate, where students will learn what is expected of them with a particular age they are in. And also we're looking at ensuring mastery of foundational skills. When kids are young, they get to learn what they are supposed to learn with the particular age they have. career pathways to be introduced at secondary school level. This is something I mentioned when we were looking at the various systems. The 2663 and the 6 for secondary school will be divided in two, where the second bit, career pathways, will be introduced to students. Now, some of the reasons why we are looking at doing away with the 844 system. 844 system, just a brief history, was introduced in the year 1985. It has been with us for 85 years. It has been completely examination oriented, where students have had to read for examination, and everything you've learned has been put in one paper at the end of 8 years or at the end of 4 years. And that's why we've had some credibility issues being mentioned. The 2015 examination had a lot of credibility issues, and we've just seen a week before now, or a few days ago, we saw the NEC board being disbanded over credibility issues of the KCSE examination. The 844 system is also being accused of insisting on rote learning, where students just cram to pass examinations, and that's it. They do not have the skills that they need to have when they get into the job market, and this is what they're seeking to do away with. And no practicality at all. I've mentioned students cannot even do a simple task like changing a bulb, and they are finished with university. They're seeking to introduce practical ways of doing things for students, practical examination. These are some of the things that they will be talking about. Stakeholders will be deliberating on come Wednesday at the KICC, and I will now take it back to James Smart, who will be having a very candid discussion on why we need this particular switch from 844 to 8663. James.
Ndera, very well done, very well said. I think you're a teaching professional. Thank you very much.